$1,000 for the 5 properties that preserve the right through the 429 process. The actual number is 215,120.17. That has been reflected online and updated in the electronic packets. The second one is an addition. We've added item 20 on the agenda, which is adopt resolution 2024-045, submitting application for protect funds for the 26 Trunk Highway 371 and College Road area stormwater improvement project.
Okay. And then they updated.
Yep, they are been updated online and in your electronic packets. The hard copy of the edition is in front of you as well.
Should be good to go. Okay. Any public comments you received? Mail, form?
We received no.
Any public comments in the audience? This is the time we receive comments from you that about anything that's not on the agenda. If you'd like to address those, we didn't entertain those comments at this time.
Any comments?
Anything that's not on the agenda.
That's not on the agenda? Okay, I got
We'll be
it.
right back. Yep, that was your name.
David Lane. I live on Cherrywood. That would kind of be Cherrywood South, or by the church. We're getting charged for storm sewer, and it's just doubled, and we don't even have storm sewer. So I don't know if you guys are used to paying for stuff that you're not getting, but we aren't. So I would like to know what the issue is. Either you're gonna put storm sewer in there, which I drew up a detailed diagram how to do that, or we get it taken off of our bill. Is that passed? Cause you've been doing it ever since, storm sewer came in. And I've been looking for ways to put storm sewer down there, cause you know, we always have Lake Charles there every year. But, if there's not gonna be storm sewer, I don't wanna pay for it. And I'm sure if everybody else finds out, they're not gonna wanna pay for it either. So instead of starting an epidemic, you know, you can just take it offline.
You got two questions there. One is that it doubled. Let's address that.
The storm sewer did double from 2-something to 509.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah,
could we have staff explain what that bill is?
well, but I just wanted to clarify the doubling part too.
Okay. So you want me to sit down while you do that?
If you like.
So we're not billing twice, but a month.
Take a
My
chance.
knee is killing me to walk even that
Okay.
far.
You want me to put in the car?
Can we just send him all the information on the MS4 stuff? I mean, we have all the handouts, the ordinance, and send it to Dave?
Well-
That explains it in detail, great detail. It's for the MS4
Yeah.
permit,
I
in
think
the
that-
Stormwater Enterprise Fund.
I think that'd be great if he wants that much detail, but just the simple side of it is that fee that everyone pays mows our ditches, cleans out our stormwater ponds across the entire city that the city owns.
Well, then that should be put down as maintenance, not stormwater.
Well, it's all part of the stormwater system. The ditch is part of a stormwater collection system.
But anyway,
That's
that's
not maintenance.
that's what-
Stormwater is stormwater. If you wanna detail it, you know, put down a detail explanation on the bill, you know, that's up to you, but that's a different thing. Maintenance and stormwater are two different things.
But we have a stormwater management fund, and that's what that goes into.
Well, we don't have stormwater.
You do
And
if
it's
you
that
have a
simple.
ditch in front of your house.
I mow my ditch.
But
Everybody mows their ditch.
most of us do.
Yeah, so real here.
Well,
I don't like
average-
paying for, $5 a month, you know what that adds up to after 30 years?
Yeah, I do.
Pretty good sum of money. And I'm not used to paying for stuff that I don't have. I never charge people for things that I don't do on their vehicles or on their engines. And I don't expect it to be done to me. And I'm sure everybody else, if they found out, they wouldn't want it either. So there has to be a little clarification. So I don't know how elaborate you want to get into that, because I think I pretty much made it simple.
Every year we have an annual presentation of that whole situation.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a PowerPoint that shows all the things that have to be done, required by the environmental people, sweeping streets. It's not just water running by your house, it's
Right, so it's mislabeled.
potato, I guess,
It's mislabeled.
Okay.
So it better be put down as maintenance, or if it's storm sewer, it better be taken off. That's that simple.
It
I
is,
mean, I can't make it any simpler.
and I can't make it any simpler either. It's a
Right.
stormwater management plan.
Right.
Would it be helpful to you to get all that information from Trevor, all the details?
It wouldn't tell me anything I don't know already, because I've seen all that information.
Okay, well, you're much
I
more.
drew up the plan to take care of the stormwater in our area, using an underground drainage ditch which would have been more than adequate to clear that up. The only time we really need it is when the spring thaw is, when the ground is still solid. And I created a kind of a prototype system just to see if it would work, and it does.
But
It's
again,
just
that's part of it, Dave, the
Yeah.
stormwater actually. It's deeper in the restrictions, there's so much great.
right,
Just saw a bill the other day for $64,000 for street sweeping. And
Right.
You have to do that twice a year, is it correct?
well, we never had to before, but.
Yeah.
And then the other issue was, for the recovering. I didn't make it to the last meeting, I was out of town. Are they putting, how much are they putting? Are they putting, 2 inches on top of my existing road on Cherrywood? Is that what they're doing? Or are they gonna shave it off?
Let's ask.
Are we doing Cherrywood
Sure, it was
Next
not-
year.
Next year.
next year?
But I need to be ready, because
Sure, it was not next year.
Isn't it? I'd look at the schedule, it's either in 2025 or 2026.
okay, because the meeting I went to last, they had it scheduled for 2024 this year, then they changed it, and then I heard 2025, I never heard anything about 2026. But the road is actually constructed poorly, especially when that corner comes down. They have that corner down too low, so when the garbage trucks and stuff come, there's only 2 inches of pavement on there. And when that packs down to maybe 1.5 inches or less. When you put pavement on top of other pavement, and you're on a corner, and if that corner slopes in, then it's supposed to be, how roads curve when you go on it. If you drive on that and there's a slope, when those trucks go around the corner, you're gonna get separation. And I forgot what they call that, was it spalting? Where it makes cracks in the tar, because they've gone around that corner, and when you go around that corner, it pushes everything over, it'll release, and then it'll keep pushing, then you'll get hairline cracks, then you'll get bigger cracks. So if the road isn't constructed properly, then you're gonna have problems. If it's constructed right, then you'll have less problems, and you have to maintain it less, because it's done properly. And then, this last winter, know, it's been a bugger. We got that storm, I think we got 6 or 8 inches of snow. And the road restrictions were on, and there was only 3 or 4 inches of frost thawed out. Well, road restrictions on my road were 5 ton, which is 10,000 pounds. I can't even drive my backhoe on that. And here the plow trucks are on there, full of sand, driving. I know some people think roads have to be plowed, but you broke your own road restriction law on all the roads. So now, if you go around and look, you'll see all the roads are bad. And I know you guys haven't been out looking at the roads, but I have. So, when we do put 2-inch caulk on it to patch it up or whatever. But, you know, those trucks are heavy, you know, they shouldn't have been loaded up with sand. Because even without the sand, it's over the road restriction. And I know it's been a weird winter, and I know people want their roads plowed, but rules are rules. Now we got a bigger bill than what we started out with. And if you go look at, a prime example is Glenwood Drive. There's a sandy portion about in the middle there where I used to live, and it was pretty level most of the winter. But then after we got that snowstorm, it just got all pressed down, and that crack just widened right out. So, I don't know what, I know it's a problem because it's already done. So I was just wondering what your view on that was.
Yeah, you'll be notified well in advance to have those conversations with us about that road.
Okay.
And what you think.
I just don't wanna see it in the paper before we're notified.
You'll get plenty of mail.
Because, you know, roads are a big thing,
Absolutely.
and we have to do it right, otherwise, we can't hold the pavement people responsible for anything that goes wrong on the road. They'll just say, oh, well, that's the way tar is, you know? And I don't see doing a bad job. I'd rather pay for a good job and do it right than to pay somebody to do a bad job and don't warranty it. So that's pretty much all I have to say without repeating myself.
Thank you.
You know, but I just want to make sure I've got a point across. And the road restrictions really screwed it up. You know, we had all that heavy equipment on the roads, so it's not just the roads we're going to do, but it's all of them now. So,
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Talk about the paving of Donald Street.
Say again?
So I'd like to talk about the paving of Donald Street.
Okay,
Are we up to that point in our meeting tonight?
let's see.
That's
And
what we're
Cottage
missing.
Grove Drive,
Huh?
and Cottage Grove Drive also.
That's
All right.
12 on the consent.
Number 12.
Okay.
Okay, when we come to number 12, on the consent agenda, pull it. Yeah, we will have that discussion then. All right, moving along to consent agenda, the following items are considered non-controversial by staff and are recommended to be read and passed in one motion. Any council person, staff, citizen, or meeting attendee can request one or more items be pulled from the consent agenda. Again, will be pulled and addressed immediately after the passage of the consent agenda. Otherwise, the following items will be passed in one motion. Number 1, approve the city council work session minutes from April 16th, 2024. Number 2, approve city council minutes from April 16th, 2024. Number 3, approve the city council special minutes from April 25th, 2024. Number 4, approve the city council special minutes from April 25th, 2024. Number 5, approve the payment of bills and finance report. Number 6, accept the cemetery commission minutes from April 29th, 2024. Number 7, approve the appointment to the seasonal position of park attendant. Number 8, approve the appointment to the seasonal position of road roadside mower. Number 9, approve the appointment to the seasonal position of streets and utilities maintenance. Number 10, adopt resolution 2024-040, authorizing the mayor and the city administrator to execute and submit community impact fund application. Number 11, approve purchase of RICO multifunction device from Metro Sales. Number 12, adopt resolution number 2024-041, adopting assessment roles for the 2024 mill and overlay and full depth reclamation improvements project, municipal project number 4424.
Mr. Mayor, hold on to 12 and 13, please.
All right, we'll move on to 14. Adopt resolution 2024-044, approving the Daniel Cochran assessment waiver agreement for the 2024 South Forest View Area Improvements Project, municipal project number 4138. Number 15, adopt resolution number 2024-042, revising the hearing date on improvements for the 2024 County State Aid Highway 77 Utility Improvements Project, municipal project number 4118. Number 16, approve the First Amendment to Development Agreement of Menards. Number 17, approve the First Amendment to the Limited Use Agreement with Menards. Number 18, approve the First Amendment to Stormwater Facilities Maintenance Agreement with access rights and covenants with Menards. Number 19, accept Sourcewell Community Solutions Grant.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion by Cross, second by Jeff. All fair?
Aye.
All same sign, motion carries. First one, poll number 12.
My name is Robert Rorick, I live at 6042 Donald Street. At the last meeting, I wrote up the points of the expense. Not everybody who lives on Donald Street has this kind of excess money. Okay, we're in quite a iffy situation in our economy. So my first thought was to consider postponing Donald Street. It's not in that bad shape until next year. Give us an opportunity to see where this economy is going to go. Because if anyone who follows it knows that it's not great right now. So that's my first thought. My second thought is the financing of this. Now, we the people of Baxter have, according to the December 2022 report, have over $40 million in stocks and bonds and assets. I've read through the sheet. There's multiple billion-dollar assets and they're any 1% interest. Okay? And you want to charge me 7% interest. So if we do decide to go forward with this year, or even next year, why don't we liquidate some of that money that belongs to us? Because you said the state says we the people have to pay for it. That is we the people's money. Or at the very least, use that money to loan to us so we can pay it back with the 1% interest that we're getting on it right now. That'll save me $5,000 and other people who have to pay this, because there's no way I can pay this. It's a lot of money for someone who's on a limited income, retired, disabled. So I do work and I do collect my Social Security, but as all of us know, it's happened in the last 3 years. You know. So basically, I'm just looking for a way to make this be able to function for my household. And I cannot afford it as it's written right now. So, would you guys have any suggestions? Now, I know a number of other people from here from Donald Street who are in the same boat. You know? And again, if it was all falling apart and everything, it'd be one thing. But that route, 20, 25 cars a day on it. It's in relatively decent shape. All the cracks are mostly relatively well sealed. The guys have been doing a great job keeping up on the maintenance. But it's not a life and death not something that if we don't do it right away, the whole world's gonna fall apart. Does that make sense? And I do have other options that we can consider. If you do decide to go forward with this without my approval, I will hire someone to come and cut 100 feet of road front in front of my house, so they can come by, rip everything else out, just not pave in front of my house, because there's nothing wrong with the road in front of my house. So I've lived in a few options with you guys. You know, you guys work for us, you work for all of us. And, I mean, the fellow who lives across the street from me, I'm absolutely surprised that he's not here, because he's in the same boat that I'm in, living on limited retirement. You know, I mean, I could get into the details of how much my costs have just gone up in the last 3 years, and how little I've gotten in increases in my incomes. That's why I still have to work. And that's not the problem that I have to work. The problem is that work is limited. I don't have access to gain more income than I have. And with each passing day, the amount of liquid income that I have continues to decline. So I'm reaching out for myself and for other members of Donald Street to consider at least postponing this for 1 year and see where that leads. At this point, I yield.
Okay, thank you.
I don't understand what is on 20.
My name is Rita Miller. I live on Cottage Grove Drive. And I'm also here about the assessment. According to my land, I'd be charged over $4,350 some dollars. I figured out since 2018 through 2024, my taxes have gone up 38.9% already. That's a 5.5 increase every year. How do you expect me to pay for this? I don't have the money. I already work 6 days a week. I work 2 jobs, and then I get this in the mail. I'm very, very upset. Our road is not that bad.
These people made a clear point, you know, our taxes keep going up. Ours raised $1,700. And now they're gonna assess us for the road. I mean, thing is, you give the people more money back, so
38.9%.
they spend more and build the economy. You
No
don't,
sense in action.
just because you wanna raise taxes, doesn't mean you can't just raise taxes. Take a survey
Mine are 35.
of what people, you know, what people are retired, what people have for money. Some people, you know, they'll skip food so they can buy their medicine. And here we come in with an assessment raising taxes on properties. And the property hasn't changed at all. Nothing's changed, the roads have gotten worse. I know you're trying to get money to redo the roads, but, you know, there's people hurting out there since COVID. And to raise taxes, I mean, that just takes away more money, it makes it more hardship. So, I know you guys got a lot to deal with, but, you know, I brought that up before, you know, when you do projects, make sure you assess them right. You know, I'm a little more fussy when I assess things. When I do a job, I wanna make sure I do it and do it right the first time. I don't wanna go back and tear it up and move it just cause, oh, we got this extra money. You know, we raised taxes, now we got this extra money. We buy new desks. You know, sounds like a government issue, but, and I don't think we need to do that with our county. You know, everybody should, you know, the county should live like we do. You know, be conservative. And if we have a problem with what conservative is, maybe we need to have more meetings.
Brad, the comment about the $40 million has come up before, can you just explain that?
I think Jeremy would be better suited to provide an explanation.
Your Honor, Counsel, first I'd like to clarify, we do not own any stocks, we're not allowed to own stocks, but with regard to the investments that we have, it is investing funds that are dedicated for specific purposes. So for example, our sales tax collections, those can only be used for certain items. Street maintenance would not qualify under that provision, so we do invest idle funds to have those funds grow and be available for other projects as they're needed. Similarly, a lot of the investments that we have are related to the reserves that we have in our water and sewer funds that are used to do major repairs and replacements. As you know, we did a major rehab on our filters a couple of years ago, and we've had other projects in the pipeline that are being paid for with those sources. So it's not as simple as just saying we're going to liquidate funds to be able to pay for unrelated project costs. Those funds are dedicated for specific purposes. The city does issue bonds to finance the projects to pay for not only a portion of our project costs related to that, but also to finance the assessments that are related to that. With regard to the interest rate that we're getting on that as far as an internal borrowing, the actual going rate right now in that 1 to 3 year space is closer to 5%. We won't know what the actual interest rate is on the bonds until we sell them. We do estimate that the 7% probably is a little bit high. Typically try to go a little bit high when we do the projects, hoping that it'll come in a little bit lower when we sell the bonds later on this year.
And in the event that the interest rate that we have on the bonds is lower, you adjust assessment roll and send
That's
out.
correct. We'll send out new assessment records later in the fall after the bonds are sold.
We're kind of rehashing the whole assessment hearing, so we don't have the slides, but if you remember the slides, the city, quote unquote, was picking up about half of these projects anyway. So it is investing, it is us, investing city funds on these projects to try to buy them down. It'll never be enough, I understand that. You got 2 people that are in this project that I'm coming up next, and so we're not immune to it either. The roads are roads, and no easy answers. Anybody else want to question? Anybody else want to talk? Go ahead.
Shouldn't we be investing the money as we get it and let it build interest? And then when we get the money to do the roads, then we can pay them off. You know, if we get this large sum of money, we should be getting pretty good interest on it. You know, short-term interest, you can get 5.8 to almost 6%. So why not invest that money for 6 months? What's 6 months? And with a large, I know some of those, you know, you have an amount limit you can invest, but if we invest that money to where we can double it somehow. I mean, there's a lot of smart people around here that can figure that out. You just have to ask them, because they're hiding there. But once we get that money built up like that, then we can afford to maintain these roads, and we don't have to burden the people living on these roads to do it.
I'm confused, where's that money coming from that we're going to invest?
From our taxes, I mean, you raised our taxes, mine went up $1,700, almost 2,000.
130% in my house in
Not
3
because
years.
of Baxter.
I got my taxes right here.
I'd love to look at them because they're.
My
maybe
son's
not-
an actuary, and he figured this out for me today. I gave him the
All
numbers.
I'm saying is the city of Baxter is responsible for only a portion of the taxes you pay on the property.
You wanna see these?
The
So why don't you guys put some pressure on the county
County,
Here. My son's an actuary. I gave him a number to figure it out.
and you figured it just off the Baxter tax.
Wasn't that what I paid?
Well, no, you pay, state general tax, school district tax, Crow Wing County tax,
Yeah,
and
but-
senior.
But it
But we
all
don't-
adds up, doesn't it?
Oh, it definitely does, but we're only, we can only, we only change the city Baxter tax. We aren't responsible for what the other jurisdictions do, unfortunately.
Yeah, I
And we
understand.
try to hold the cities.
Yeah, I know you understand, and we've got a good city here, but, our road is not that bad. I mean,
Well, and yours, our road where we live, we're getting a full length reclamation, and our bill is double what yours is. And no one is
you have a
happy about it.
two-family, you have a two-income household, I have a one.
I understand that as well. And as I was explaining it, to my husband and other people, it's like, you're painful. Nobody enjoys these at all, and we're gonna be making payments on it. We don't have the money upfront.
You know, when they take this money out of our income, I'm on social security, we're still taking taxes out, here's that one. But, when they take all this tax money from us, well, then when everybody gets raises, well, we don't have much of that tax money left over. We got the whole state, our governor takes a lot of money out of our paychecks, and he's not about to take it back. He'll raise it before he gives any back. So it's gotta stop somewhere. And if one person says something, it doesn't do anything. We don't have a group to fight like these protesters on TV.
I have one more question. I heard a rumor that, you're looking to build a new city hall, is that correct? Down the road?
We are in the process of reviewing the contents
So
of,
more taxes?
Exactly. Enough's enough. Just so you guys understand, okay, I got $128 a month increase in my social security for this year. You know what I see of it? $26. The rest of it goes to Medicare. And I just had a medical system that I just went through that was supposed to cost me $150 out of pocket. Well, I just received a bill for $1,050. Okay? We don't have the ability to take up extra burdens right now. And I'm not the only one. There's a number of people who live on Donald Street who are in the same boat. Why they're not here, I don't understand. I guess people are cowards and don't want to stand up for themselves. But can't do it. We have to, like I said, best possible option is to re-put it off for next year, see where the economy goes.
Exactly.
If it's moving in a positive direction, because I can tell you right now, I've been on that street for almost 15 years. It'll last 2 or 3 more years without a problem. And it's not like we have to, if we were doing a retop, that's different, I understand that. But you're taking it all out and putting in a brand new road, right, on Donald Street? So I would rather be sleeping in my home with potholes in my street than sleeping in the back of my car on a newly paved road.
Agreed.
Okay, so we've got to be serious about this. And if you can talk to other people on Donald Street and they're willing to pick up for us that can't afford it, it's America, that's fine. But you can't get blood from a stone. Okay, I yield.
In fact, tonight driving in, Cottage Grove, there's one pothole in the street. Really? Does it need to be done? I mean,
I can't believe nobody came, assholes.
Okay.
Question. That sewer line that goes from Cherrywood to Donald Street, is that still active?
Yes. Yes, it is.
So doesn't that screw up the route of all the others? Or it doesn't end at the end of the street? And then, when the other Cherrywood, is that down into that?
You come on in and I'll show you the whole sanitary sewer system on our GIS. same since 1989.
Okay, let's get back to the painful subject here. First of all, I want everybody to realize we're not sitting out of money. That's not the case. Like Jeremy said, anything we've got is designated and is heading someplace. The second thing I would encourage you is that every fall, we do our budget and we have a public hearing on our budget, truth and taxation. And Jeremy goes over, it's about an hour, goes over line item by line item, exactly where every dollar is going. There's nothing, it can't be any more transparent than that. And obviously, you're invited, you're notified about it to see exactly where everything's going and where every penny is being spent. So there's no back alley deals going on. It's all above board. So I just want to add those two things. But in the meantime,
I did want to say something here. And I think I've said this before, it would be nice to ask the public what level of streets they're willing to drive on. And, I don't know how we do that unless we send out some type of a survey. But I'm sure you're gonna get a multitude of answers. And every street's different. So personally, I would like to know if we're currently maintaining them to a higher level than people want to pay for.
Hey, Mark, we appreciate you guys.
Yes.
We know that you guys, work hard, okay? We're not trying to take anything from you. But we're just in a place right now that we have to be very realistic. These kind of expenses are gonna put a lot of people under.
I understand that,
So-
and we have postponed projects in the past.
Well, we're gonna have to continue until our economy starts to turn, that we can start to have cash flows again. I'd be honest, I'd be already not making my ends meet. I have a special needs son. And as of like 3 years ago, all his income went to him. Now, I have to use his income to keep my house afloat. Okay? So if this continues to go this way, another year or two of this, and I'm not gonna make it. And if you know anything about special needs people, you don't move them. If I moved him out of here, out of Crow County, it would take him a year or two just to get recovered and moving forward again, because they're very, very, they need their exact situations. Everything's repetition. Okay, so there's a lot involved here, and I'm just pleading with my heart, because I don't want to have to move.
And like I said at the last meeting, excuse me, we can postpone it, and you can postpone it 1, 2, 3 years, but the problem comes as we have done that in the past, then the costs are that much higher when it comes time to, you have to do it then. But I fully agree, I hate to throw away pavement that still has life left in it. If we're tearing it down and bringing it back in, but at what time then do we, it's not a full depth reclamation, it's a total rebuild of the base. I mean, we have, we can ask 3 to 4 different engineers how long this is gonna, how much further we can extend it before it jumps to the next category and then doubles. And we'll get 3 different answers. They can tell us the best guess on what they know about pavement. And, we had a mild winter that caused issues, and then you have a bad winter that, freezes everything solid in November, and it's great until spring.
I understand.
And it's a gamble. So, I don't know, I'm personally willing to gamble and let it go, but then beware if it goes too far. Now it's a full base redo, and it's not just a reclamation and new pavement on top of it.
But like Cottage Grove Drive, we're right in the middle of Memorywood, Clearwater. There's hardly any traffic. It's just the people who live there. And please, I can't afford this. I'm gonna have to sell my
you have the figure, I mean, close to an exact figure, how much has been invested to this, at this point in these road projects? As far as preparing and studying and work with contractors, just ballpark.
What's the question?
How much?
I'm wondering how much money has been invested already.
In engineering and bidding
Yeah.
that.
I'm sure it's a significant amount. And so is that for not? I mean, again, I feel all of your pain, I'm right there with you.
I don't know what to tell you.
It's difficult.
Total project cost,
The total project cost is $5 million.
5 million, 10%, so we're well into around $500,000 into it already.
And just throw that out the window and start over again, that I can't stomach.
Is that using recycled material also, when we can? Sometimes, you know.
The full depth reclamation goes through and grinds up the surface,
Yeah, it goes through.
and it goes into the base and gets mixed in with the base.
So I know
So,
they have machines now that'll grind it up and they'll put it back down,
Right.
That's what it's.
yep,
and it's one big deal. You know, and that saves time, because you got less time to have to go back. You know, and if you go too thin, it's just not gonna work, because one slides on top of the other. And the speed those garbage trucks go around those corners, you know, there's all kinds of things out there.
Well, if we spent $500,000 so far, we've already got all the information we need to do it, correct? So if we postpone it 1 year, how much could it possibly change? Just another reinspection and move forward.
I don't know if the engineers
I don't
can
don't know if that would be the ultimate case. It could be a lot more than that. Obviously, the freeze and thaw could change that, as Councilmember Cross had indicated, from an FDR to a full reconstruction, which would double, I think it's close to double what the estimate that you have, or the assessment that you have if you went to that. The other part is the existing project. Whatever does move forward, it has to be recalculated. It was bid as a whole project, and in the context, if it gets below a certain percentage of the project being removed, the contractor has the right to rescind his bid or open up for negotiation. So that's another thing that has to be taken into consideration as well.
From what I see, the engineers aren't doing all they could. We got 2 engineer degrees, and I have not seen them doing the right things on that pavement. You cannot have standing water on that pavement. It'll percolate into the soft spots, and then it'll make that deteriorate. And then if one spot deteriorates, the other spot's gonna deteriorate. Right there on 210, where Englewood meets 210, that problem should have been, after they got done tarring that road, that should have been redone right away, because that's gonna compromise all the new tar. Tire's gonna pick up the rocks that have, on that bad spot of the road, it's gonna take it across the new tar, and it's gonna deteriorate it. And we have to have runoff. I mean, it doesn't have to, you don't have to stand back, and it doesn't have to look flat. It's not supposed to. It's supposed to have enough runoff to keep that rainwater from pooling on that road.
And I think you've said that multiple times to the city council at different meetings, and we have engineers that work through those, so.
Well, I
I
just want to
don't-
make sure you guys have heard it.
We've heard it from you specifically multiple times.
That's right. How many times does it take?
I think
You're
it,
right.
I think it
And
has
I
to
told
be
you,
a
they're gonna
conscious
redo the whole highway,
decision.
so they're not excited about it yet, because they're gonna do all the 210 here shortly. So that was the answer.
But I know you get that little smiley smirk on your face, Jeff. Like you think I'm just saying a bunch of words.
No, I think you're a very intelligent man, but I've heard it before from you multiple times.
All right, let's
When
move
we're
on.
talking about this project.
Getting weighted
I'm
down here,
just
so
do something about it.
did you want to say something else?
No, sir. Said it.
I just, this is the worst part of the job.
I understand.
Road project show up, it's holy moly, that's all hell is breaking loose, 30 people. Well, we have 9,000 people, so what does that really represent? You know, it's always tough to get a good gauge and feel. I really don't even want to go here, but just to give you an example of what I'm trying to say is that of all the streets that we're doing together, that are being bunched together here, there's 282 parcels. 282 parcels. That's a lot of streets, and that's a lot of families. And at the last meeting, we had 30 people here. And again, we don't judge by that, but 30 people out of 282. And several of those people came up and said, good, let's go for it. We've been waiting for this. We want to get, not everybody. I hope you're following what I'm trying to say. It's hard to gauge.
I understand.
It's hard to gauge what we want. And the one person came up, I thought, here we go. And he said, no. He said, we've been waiting for this. You need to get it done. It's a tough decision, but do it. And so to sit here and try to gauge, you know, Mark talks about putting out a sample ballot or whatever you want to call it. And that's something that could happen too. But those numbers are kind of, they're hard to peg. What does it mean? You know, what does it mean? 282 parcels and 30 people showed up, and not all of them were against it. So I'm not trying to have a pity party here for us. I'm just trying to explain some of the things that we have to look at and try to weed through the tough decisions and come up with what's best for the city, and what's best for the city may not be best for individuals of every neighborhood either. But
And I know that we've used, and all of us have used the term, we don't have a crystal ball, but just an example, our son who lives in Duluth visits us periodically, was here this past weekend, and we had our granddaughter out on her little bike, and he was out on the road too, and he said, wow, Mom, this road has really gone to crap, excuse my language, since last summer, and that was a year. Never would have I thought that just less than a year later, Edmonton would have the number of holes that it does right now. We can't predict how long a road is going to take to deteriorate to the point where it does become a full
Well,
reclamation.
Edmonton's a resurface though.
No, it's an FDR, just like that. I walk Donald, I walk Edmonton all the time, they're both the same.
Okay, because I mean, I live there too, I'm using them all the time. So I thought that was a resurface.
No.
And
And we
that's
can't,
take it out and
my
reput it.
point in all this is we can't predict, so you postpone for a year, we've already invested $500,000 in this, thereabouts, and maybe it's gonna be that much worse in a year, and then all of the roads have to get a full depth reclamation, which, as Mayor said, then doubles the assessments. I don't want that to happen either.
Well, either do I, but I'm just like saying, I mean,
he's already got it.
I'm just
Yeah,
surprised because
right.
I've spoken with a number of neighbors on Donald Street who said they'd be here, so.
Yeah, and again, it's just hard, it's not fair.
Are there grants available, Daryl, that, you know, can you show us how to go down to the Capitol and stand up for what we need, and we get a grant to help out? I know you guys do a lot. Daryl, he makes the job look easy.
Baxter doesn't qualify for anything. They say we're too wealthy. That's their answer. So.
I know all because we're bigger than Frank.
I will mention
Not only immigrants.
one thing that is of value to us that you can talk to legislators about is the local option sales tax. The fact that all the people come through to the resorts in their cabins and spend money here helps our ability to spend money that is not coming out of your property taxes. And the state at this time is not a big fan of letting local jurisdictions do that. So if you wanted to do something that might have a level of productivity, it would be to ask the legislature to support letting local cities like Baxter continue to have a local option sales tax. That would be one option. I know we don't have much for grant options.
And also use it for more specific uses like the big schools.
And let us use it as the local residents see fit. Yes,
Zach,
rather
can you
than-
look into that for us?
I mean, right now, I think it's being debated, or there's we sent a letter, right? Yeah, so we're definitely, I think the council, I can speak for everybody by saying, like, we are 100% behind continuing to do that to help pad our budget by being able to take advantage of the fact that hundreds of thousands of people are spending money here who don't live here and drive on our roads and use our infrastructure.
We have to know the right people to go to, otherwise it's trial and error for us.
I would
It's all your
talk to
legislators,
representative
local legislators.
Well, I talk with Pete Stiver all the time, and I've kind of given up on him.
Josh Heinzman would be
Josh,
our local rep.
I've talked to him too many times.
Yeah, it's gotta be state people, though.
Every time I talk to Josh, it's like, oh, it's because they control, they got they got the power,
Yeah.
we're, and I mean, it's like, well,
Yeah.
I understand the whole thing, I mean, the whole big ball of wax. I mean, I don't know what to say, I mean, I'd like to have a new road too, but like I said, I'd rather be sleeping in my bed and have potholes than be sleeping in my car in the backseat on a paved road. I mean, I don't know what else to say, I just don't know what else to say.
You notice our politicians aren't that fair anymore, because they can't take the rhetoric.
Okay,
Okay.
just to piggytail on the sales tax that we have approved right now had to be specifically approved by the legislature for specific items. One was a wastewater treatment plant, one was a water treatment plant, those types of things, and no variation. What we need them to say is, look, it's your money, we'll leave you alone, do whatever you want. To Zach's point, that would include a lot of roads that visitors are using too, and so we gotta get them to get on our backs, just leave us alone.
Well, Darrell, even on one spot, I mean, we're talking 7% interest. Okay, that's $5,000, because there's no way I can, I'm gonna have to make the smallest payments I can, unless something major changes for the positive. So, if there's another way to finance it with a much lower interest rate, that would be helpful. I mean, there's, 7%, I mean, that's a lot, it's $5,000 out of my pocket.
What did the last one sell for, Jeremy?
No, I don't recall offhand, I think it was in the upper fives.
Yeah. He has to put a number in there for a placeholder just to give people an idea, but after we sell it, I think it was around 5, so.
But just to give you an idea, I mean, my property taxes in the last 3 years have gone from 11 to 27, okay? My income hasn't,
Yeah.
even, and then we have this whole homeowner's tax, insurance thing. My homeowner's insurance was never over $750, it's $1,700. Just take those two alone, with a $26 a month increase in income. And then, you know what I'm saying? You guys know, I mean, we're all dealing with the same thing. It's just some of us have more access to money than others. And like I said, if I didn't have a special needs kid, I'd have probably sold my house and moved to a less expensive place. But he's the most important thing in my life. And I'm hoping that I don't have to move. But, I just don't,
What are we gonna do?
I wish I could easily say I could just pay my fair share and it would be no big deal, but,
I understand.
all right.
Starting with number 12.
Doesn't make me happy to do it, but I'm gonna move to adopt resolution 2024-041.
What's that?
And it doesn't make me happy either, but I will second that.
Happy bunch. Second by Lisco. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Number 13.
Approval.
Motion by Zach.
13 is approving the resolution accepting the bid to Knife River
Right. You want me to pull the exhibit up on the computer? Is everybody okay looking at the exhibit in front of them? Okay. So what this is for is the Protect Funds as a program that has been out there not very long, but it's basically a fund to help promote resilience and basically help protect some of these corridors. And that money can be allocated towards drainage or any other improvement on that facility that in the long run could help reduce costs if there was an emergency. So for this project in particular, this starts at College Road and then does end up outletting into the Mississippi River. A portion of this project was completed in 2020 with the North Forest View portion. That was from Highland Scenic down the Mississippi. But this money is about $600,000 is what is being requested out of the total project cost of $2.4 million. So that would help reduce the overall city contribution for that. This system is going to help drain and help overflow a very large system with the overpass coming. That a lot of that stormwater needs to go somewhere. That'll be part of this overall outlet. So for approval or to go after these funds, the city has to submit an application, and that application is due May 7th. Yes.
So the line on the map, is that hard and fast, or if something were to develop on these empty lots, is it movable? I mean,
So-
I hate to spend a bunch of money making this all happen. If you know, a developer's going to change it. I mean, right now, if I understand right, we have a pipe under College Drive. Is that all the further it goes, or does it go all the way down to the Hastings Road?
No, that is all further goes. We would be connecting into that, continuing that south.
Just to answer your question, Councilmember Cross, as you recall, the EDA had adopted or accepted and gave preference to a redesign of that general area north of Hastings. And the initial layout is based off of that design.
Okay.
But it's still.
But it could move.
It could move.
It could move.
It could move before we actually build it, yes.
Or if a developer comes in and buys the land, they can move it at their cost. I mean, it's not locking us in.
Correct.
But for right now, it's strategically placed given the information that we have. Right.
Sure.
Yep.
Okay. Looking for
Make a motion to go after the grant.
motion by Cross,
Second.
second by Lisio. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Good luck on that.
Mother's Day first, and obviously opening fishing, so that means a lot more traffic, and just for all of us to be aware, and motorcycles are out.
Zach,
No comment tonight.
Jeff,
No comments, thank you, sir.
Art,
Well, yes, I have some comments. You stole my motorcycle, but that's okay. I drive fairly conservative, and I missed getting hit in Englewood 77. Because someone missed me, didn't see me coming. How can you not see me? But
You have to wear one of those country western jackets.
I have this bright yellow jacket. So the other thing I was gonna bring up, and somebody brought it up tonight, it was the city hall. And I've had more than a few people say to me, why are we spending money in city hall, where that's coming from. So my comment, which is kind of like the roads comment I made on what level of road our citizens would be happy with, is before we as council approve a city hall, I would like to see that go to referendum. And I would like to hear from our citizens on what they want. And that is all my comments for tonight. Thank you.
yeah, I would say we're a long ways from there, but a good point.
Well, sneaks up on that. We already have a study.
Okey dokey. And the only thing I would say is I appreciate your involvement and,
I got an idea, why don't you sell one of our police cars, they must be worth $100,000 apiece. That'll take up some, help us pay some of those road expenses. I mean, I'm from a town that's twice the size of this, and we didn't have that many police cars. Just saying.
yeah, yeah.
New City Hall, I don't think so. There's something wrong with this one.
Well, there'll be plenty of time for comments on that.
Yeah.
So again, appreciate you coming and staying involved and we continue to do that. City Administrator?
Just two items, Your Honor. Each of you received an email regarding the invitation from the developers of Corner Lot. They're doing a tour to invitees of the apartments there on Los Angeles on Monday. And then just a reference, May 22nd, is that correct, Trevor? May 22nd is when
Wednesday, May 22nd.
the Utilities Commission will be getting an update from SEH regarding the well rehab and the well long-range plan. So at 5:30 in this room, correct?
Correct.
So we'll send an invite in that context. And we did that for the initial one, and we want to make sure that the council stays on speed on the efforts being made there. So.
Zip.
That's it.
Okay. Look for a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.